Hey guys, Tim Walling here with SC Legal Carry. We train people to get a CWP in the state of South Carolina. If you need a concealed weapons permit, please look us up online at sclegalcarry.com. Alright, let's take a quick peek at our trigger pull. Now, we have got our snap caps in here, alright? No live ammunition in the area. You see your load indicator is up, telling you have a snap cap in there. We're going to talk about trigger pull real quick. Now, when you look at your trigger on your firearm, of course, you've got a safety in the center of this trigger here. I'm going to press that in. Now, when you go to put your finger on the trigger, just this front pad right here, just the front pad goes on the trigger. Your finger should not be hanging out like this on the trigger. Just that front pad goes on it, just like this, okay? So when you grip your pistol, now you've got some take up in your trigger. This is called your take up. It's slack, where it just gently goes to the rear and then it stops. When that stops, we call that a wall. So you've hit a wall and it stops. Now you're going to apply pressure directly to the rear in a smooth and continuous motion to the rear of the gun until the trigger breaks and the gun fires. So we do our take up. We hit our wall, we apply pressure straight to the rear in a slow continuous motion until the trigger breaks and the gun actually fires. So let's practice that. This is a double action gun. You can pull all the way through in double action so that you get used to that. Now I don't want you practicing holding your gun this way. I'm just showing you. I want you to be able to see. So I reset the trigger by pulling the slide back just a little bit. We do our take up. Here's our wall. We apply pressure. Trigger breaks. Now let's hold the trigger down. Don't let it go. Charge the gun up. Let's find our trigger reset. Your trigger reset is the amount of distance that your trigger has to come forward to actually reset so it'll fire the next round. So I'm going to slowly let go of the trigger and listen for it. There's the click. So there's the trigger reset, okay? You don't have to let it come all the way and deal with that slack again. All you got to do is let it come far enough to hear the click and feel that it's reset. We'll apply pressure to the rear again. Let the trigger break. The gun fires. Hold the trigger down. Don't let it go. Charge it up. Now let's find our trigger reset. There's our trigger reset. Let's pull the trigger slow, smooth, continuous motion to the rear till the gun fires. Hold the trigger down. Charge it up just a little bit. Let the trigger go. There's your reset in it. Now the way I want you to do that is more like this, okay? So we worked on our grip, right? So it's actually inside here, but you guys can't see what I'm doing. So I'm gonna do like this so you can see. So here's our trigger. Here's our take up. There's our wall, it stops. Apply pressure to the rear, slow continuous motion until the trigger breaks and the gun fires. I'm gonna catch the gun, charge it up a little bit. Remember, I never let go of the trigger. Here's my reset. There's the reset in it. Pull, it breaks, charge it up. There's the reset. Pull and it breaks. You just cannot practice that enough. You need to be practicing trigger pull daily, okay? You need to be doing that each day. Spend 4 or 5 minutes a day with it. You need to be so good at gripping that pistol and holding it tight and not moving any muscle in your hand or arms and only your trigger finger. That is it. My reset, I've got it. It breaks. Reset. There's my trigger. I squeeze it, it breaks. I reset, and it breaks. Notice the firearm's not moving as I do this, okay? Try to make sure you're holding that firearm as still as you can. Don't move any other muscle in your hands, in your shoulders, any place. Once you got your grip, you've got your sight alignment, hold on. The only thing that moves is your trigger. You should have zero movement in this firearm when you squeeze that trigger, okay? It just takes practice to be able to do that. Reason I have my snap cap in here while I'm doing this is, so I don't damage my firing pin, okay? You want to spend a lot of time with this trigger. You want to make sure you know this trigger and you know it well. You do not want to grab this firearm and accidentally fire that trigger and not be ready for it, okay? The way you avoid that is you dry fire and you practice pulling that trigger over and over and over again, okay? So that you get that skill down and you learn how to do that. Double action gun. Let's practice a little bit with that double action trigger, okay? We should be able to hold that gun still, come all the way through with that double action trigger. That'll actually help you to be able to control the gun and only move that trigger finger. You got a mind map, folks. You got to find this knuckle, this joint, and this trigger finger. You have to be able to move that and not move any other part of your hand or body or shoulders in order to keep your sight alignment and your sight picture in place as you squeeze the trigger. Sight alignment, trigger squeeze has got to be done simultaneously, okay? You got to do them at the same time, because if you disturb those sights, your shot is going to bank and go away from your target, further and further away from your target as it heads towards your target. So you got to maintain that relationship between the front sight and rear sight. Keep the front sight centered in the notch of the rear, top of the front sight level, top of the rear sight the entire time. Your focal point is the front sight. Always focus on the front sight, clear, sharpest picture while you're doing this. So I'm working on those skills while I'm sitting here. My trigger reset, my sight alignment, my two-handed grip. Not disturbing my front sight when I squeeze that trigger. I'm so close to that camera, I'm using the 0 on the GoPro on the front of that camera to make sure I'm not disturbing this sight picture as I squeeze that trigger. So make sure you spend some time with your firearms and learn those trigger resets on them, okay? So let's take a quick peek at this revolver. So our revolver is clear. The same thing goes for your revolver, folks, okay? Just the front pad of your finger. As I squeeze that trigger, I come all the way through, let it reset, come all the way through, let it reset. Nice and smooth. The only thing that's moving is this finger, nothing else. So I'm going to get my two-handed grip. I'm going to find that front sight, centered in the rear of the back. Get the front sight, top of the front sight, level top of the rear sights. Front sight's going to be clear, sharpest picture, okay? That's my focal point. I'm going to center that up. I'm going to squeeze that trigger. Let that trigger reset all the way. Practice this over and over and over so that nothing on my hands are moving, nothing in my arms or shoulders are moving. Only thing that's moving is one knuckle. That's it, while I'm squeezing the trigger on this revolver. And we're going to practice that daily. We're going to spend a little bit of time with this gun each day, practicing that trigger pull and letting it reset. That is a skill that you need to have down, okay? No live ammunition in the area when you do this. Use your snap caps. So don't cut corners. Don't get slack. Take this serious, all right? Be a responsible adult. Don't push your responsibility off on a child. Buy gun lots and gun safes. Secure your guns. Take care, everybody.